maybe we should consider this question from the outset. Team Waters or Team Gilmour? I'll let you answer first.
So, well, it's a bit like picking your favourite child or dog or whatever. Since I don't have any kids, so I would have to go with the dog option.
Yeah.
Musically, Team Gilmore. Ethically, ethically or morally, probably Team Waters, I suppose. So I've got splinters on my backside for sitting on the fence in this one, I'm afraid, Mark. But yeah, it's not the easiest question to answer, man. There's a lot of depth in there. It's if you split it down into the personalities of the two individuals. I mean, David Gilmour seems very, for choice of a better word, introverted or quiet. The quiet one in the band, whereas Roger Waters is a complete polar opposite. Needs to be heard.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've told you before, in terms of their conflict, I'm 100% Team Waters, but
Mm.
I agree it is unfortunate that, I mean, I've been mourning their conflict since 86 or
Six, was it?
85, you know.
Right.
Yeah, something like that, when I first started listening to them. So um more on that later, but yeah, just the whole conflict between um Waters and the Gilmore family, including Ms. Polly Sampson. I mean, she seems to me unhinged, and I think you shared with me the Rolling Stone interview with the man himself, and he's talking about, like, you know, Ukraine, and he smears Waters, calling him a Putin puppet, basically, and a Putin
Mm.
supporter, which is factually incorrect. Like, he's just, I don't know if he's just ignorant of it, or he's willfully, like smearing him. But that's very disappointing.
Mm. I mean, I actually made a list. Do I have my list with me? No, I don't. Somewhere else. But as we were going through this, I made a list of duos who hate each other, or band members who hate's maybe a strong word, but I suppose it's appropriate at this time, right? So we did Morrissey and Marr.
Oh, right.
There's Lindsey Buckingham and everyone else in Fleetwood Mac. There's
Yeah.
Lennon and McCartney. There's the
Yes.
Everly Brothers. I mean, I made a top 10 actually, and I don't know what I've done with my piece of paper, but anyway, there's some of the snippets from it. But I was making a little side Simon and Garfunkel. I think I were on it as well, right? So
uh, Joe Perry and Steven
Steven
Tyler at
Tyler,
one point. Yeah. Uh, Jagger and Richards
right?
over the
I mean,
years. Yeah.
so I mean, is this any different? Is it just because they have such a kind of loyal and huge fan base that there is this kind of clear divisive line between what side of the fence you're on as a fan? Are you a fan? And when Roger Waters putting out this Redux version, it's some of not even the reviews, the YouTube comments I was reading. I'm just
Yes.
like, this is shit. What the fuck is this? And you're just like, it was a bit kind of okay reactionary, but I was like, it's a bit harsh. I was like, stop. Anyway, without getting into the kind of sound of the music, but some of it was just I don't know. I just thought it was a bit over the top, but I mean that's the nature of the world we live in these days. People spouting comments willy nilly, right? And kind of that's it. Once it's on the internet, it's out there. But uh,
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that um, a bit later, but I found myself, like, being influenced by the comments, and over analyzing things, and in a negative way. But then, that's not my deepest feeling about what he did. I'll explain more about that later. But uh, yeah, that kind of immediate, that's a new aspect of the listening experience. Just like I was gonna say, you mentioned earlier, record sleeve, holding it, maybe reading lyrics on the back of it or inside. We don't have that experience now. It's like I listen to this on Spotify and YouTube, and
Yeah, me too.
it's interrupted with ads. We get a tiny little image of the artwork. It's like totally different experience,
Hmm.
and we're like, instead of listening with our friends taking drugs or drinking beer or whatever, or actually playing music ourselves, we're sharing the experience with all these anonymous people on YouTube that leave their unhinged comments. I mean, occasionally they're unhinged. Some of them are pretty funny, but and some of them are like, you know heartfelt. There, people are moved by the experience. It was pretty much split as far as I could tell, among the, or between the haters and the lovers, I guess you could say, or the fans. But yeah, more on that in a bit.
If I can ask you, musically, then, where would you be, Team Waters or Team Gilmour? Since Roger Waters thinks that everyone else in Pink Floyd was not an artist, that's what he said in a BBC interview. He said, "Well, they can't write lyrics for shit, so they're hopeless at it. So I'm the true artist." That's what he
Well,
said.
he's definitely the idea man, and he's definitely the superior lyricist. But musically, you can't discount any of the other guys. Certainly not Gilmour. Certainly not Rick Wright. Certainly not Nick Mason. I mean, if anything, they disparaged his musical
Hmm.
ability, or at least he claimed they did. But I've always thought he's an underrated bassist, and he's a great songwriter, even though he didn't always like write all the best bits himself. But as a musician, I I I don't know. Is he their equal? Um, Maybe not, but that's not his role, right? Like
It's like
Gilmour is the
the
guitar
other.
god.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's yeah, you're kind of elevating something into like a different stratosphere. But there was another, when on YouTube when it suggests videos on the sidebar, and it was weak links and otherwise great bands or something like the title for this videos was. And one of the pictures was Nick Mason, and I was just like, come on. It's like, really? That's how
I
clickbaity
mean,
can we get? It was like, that's lame.
yeah, they say the same thing about Ringo.
It's the Ringo joke, exactly, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on. You can't you can't discount his contributions. That's ignorant people talking.
Mm.
But I mean, even though in like the current situation I'm Team Waters 100%, I'm still open to listening to the new Gilmour album. I've heard bits of it, but I think we plan to discuss it more in depth on the next episode. I hope we can still do that. I'm open to listening to it. If he came to Taipei, I'd probably pay to go see him perform, even though I'm like disgusted and appalled by some of his comments,
Mm.
recent comments, let's say.